like to welcome Mike Thompson. Mike will be well known to many of us. He's been around a while, I think, and certainly he's spoken on the odd platform about apprenticeships a few times in the past. Mike is the Director of Apprenticeships at Barclays. So, Mike, over to you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for making me feel really, really old. This is actually my fourth time speaking at this conference, so apologies if I kind of touch upon things you may have heard in the past. My day job is Director for Early Careers at Barclays, so essentially that means I am responsible for recruitment and development of our apprenticeship programmes. I also am a member of the Government's Apprenticeship Delivery Board, which essentially is an ambassadorial role, working with other sectors to spread the word about apprenticeships and encourage people to do more in the apprenticeship space. And yesterday we were very, very fortunate to host the launch event for National Apprenticeship Week, and the Secretary of State came and joined us and spoke to the group that were assembled about the apprenticeship journey that we're on. And one of the things she referenced was the fact this is the 10th anniversary, and it made me think about, well, how far have we really come in 10 years around diversity and inclusion and apprenticeships? And I think the fact that Barclays hosted the event yesterday was actually very symbolic, because if you consider 10 years ago whether you could consider getting into a career in financial services through an apprenticeship, people probably would have laughed at you. Banking has been seen historically as one of the least inclusive and least accessible sectors in the economy. So in 2007, it would have been absolutely unheard of that you would have been able to get into careers in Barclays or across our sector through apprenticeships. But the reality is, today we have over 3,000 either on programme or graduated apprentices across our organisation. And not only are those apprentices undertaking foundation programmes, but they're also progressing onto degree level, and hopefully, with a fair wind and the approval of Department of Education, a Masters in Financial Services. And that means that genuinely we have a career path that can match anything that can be offered through university. And we're very proud of the fact that our programme doesn't just focus on our retail branches, but actually we've been able to open up parts of our sector, in fact, if not all of our sector, to apprenticeships. So we have apprentices working in our corporate bank, in our wealth management division, in our investment bank, which again, historically would have been only accessible to graduates. And they're also developing the new banking technologies of the future in our technology teams. So apprentices are helping to grow and transform our business. And as importantly, they're bringing new thinking and ideas to our organisation. So at Barclays, we do support the government's vision of apprenticeships as a ladder of opportunity, and that we believe it forms a foundation programme for people from all backgrounds to develop long-term sustainable careers. At Barclays, our foundation programme focuses on supporting long-term unemployed young people and older people alike, and does not require any prior experience or qualifications. We want apprentices who want to learn, can live our values, and who are ambitious to develop careers. So we are blind to your age, colour, academic achievement, or social background, or whether you have a disability. If you have the right aptitude, attitude, and motivation, then Barclays is open to you. And this is something that we're incredibly proud of, and that is making our organisation great and a diverse place to work. Apprenticeships can only work if they're a genuine ladder for progression and not a dead-end street. We learnt this the very hard way when we launched our programme and brought in our first 1,000 apprentices. And we did that within 12 months. And as they proudly came across the stage and shook my hands, one after the other asked me, what's my next promotion? What's my next apprenticeship? And at the time, we didn't have the answer. So we've worked hard through our Trailblazer group, alongside over 40 different companies and across our sector, to create career ladders across the whole of financial services. We've seen fantastic collaboration from the largest banks in the country to some of the smallest financial institutions, and we've created no fewer than 20 new standards covering all parts of our sector. It has taken us 4 years to build those standards. We were one of the pilot Trailblazer groups, but we're pretty much now ready for the levy. The recent culmination of our work has been the development of a financial services professional standard, which will offer a full degree in financial services. This is the first time a degree can be obtained through the workplace in our sector. I think a very historic moment for banking and for financial services as a whole. As a result, we're genuinely able to offer a pathway that has parity of esteem to university to those who do not wish to or do not have the ability or means to go to university. It therefore supports social mobility and access to our sector and will make us a more diverse place to work. We believe that apprenticeships can be a real catalyst for social mobility and help people change their personal circumstances for the better. In particular, apprenticeships provide a structured and highly supported pathway with those who have barriers to work, such as disability or struggling with long-term unemployment. Often these two things are inextricably linked. It is for this reason that we launched our Bolder apprenticeship programme, the Barclays Older programme, targeting long-term unemployed adults. We actually target over 50s, but we're not allowed to advertise that because it's age discrimination, somewhat bizarrely. And that programme helps people who are long-term unemployed over the age of 50 into an apprenticeship. But when we started to dig deeper underneath excluded groups and groups that could not access our sector, another group that we targeted, or discovered, if you like, was people with disabilities. When we looked at our normal recruitment practices and processes, we simply found they weren't working. So we developed a bespoke programme called Able to Enable, which we're currently piloting, which provides a 12-week paid work experience followed by an interview for an apprenticeship at Barclays. This allows us to work hand in glove with partners such as Remploy to provide the structured pathway and support that somebody needs, not just before they enter the workplace, but also while they're in the workplace. And yesterday at the event, we were very proud that one of our apprentices who joined through this programme was able to share his story. So why, if we look across the UK, are diversity statistics for apprenticeships so poor? It sounds like it's the perfect product to help people from any background, any age, into work and through to long-term careers. People from a BAME background are vastly underrepresented through apprenticeships, as are people from poorer, more disadvantaged parts of the country. And when you look at people with disabilities, again, they are significantly underrepresented. So why is it we're so poor at this? Well, this is a very complex issue and one which we've been wrestling with for a number of years as we've developed our programmes. And there are many factors at play, but let me pick out a few that I think may contribute. Firstly, I think the perpetuation of the stereotype of apprentice and apprenticeships, both being a poor quality pathway for people, but also targeted at young people. Yesterday at the launch event, I counted the number of times the words young person were referenced, over 40 mentions of young people throughout the speeches that were given. Jonathan, our apprentice, who's 60 and joined us 2 weeks ago, turned round to one of my colleagues and said, "Why do they keep talking about young people? Apprenticeships should be for anybody," and I absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. Recruitment processes continue to put barriers in the way. Academic criteria discriminate against people who haven't been suited to formal education or perhaps haven't had the opportunity to achieve through their school life. Natalie, our apprentice yesterday, shared her story of having to care for her mother who suffered from mental health issues and also losing her brother just as she was approaching her crucial examination period. She therefore struggled in education because she was juggling some significant changes in her personal life with having to get an education. She didn't do well in education and then struggled to get into employment. And that's because companies put in place academic criteria which do not add any value in the recruitment process. Natalie is now on our degree apprenticeship programme. She has moved her way through a foundation programme, is doing a degree, and she will graduate this year with a first-class honours from Anglia Ruskin University, and she's top of her class against a peer group who had significantly better academic qualifications than her. Low expectation levels and lack of inspiration and role models is another reason why I think many people, when you listen to their stories, don't even think they can achieve a career in Barclays. They just simply don't bother trying. So our job as an employer is to show that our organisation is open to everybody, and we try and do this in many, many ways, including our apprentices sharing their stories with their peer groups and going back into the communities in which they live. And a lack of investment in traineeship programmes. One of my biggest disappointments with the levy was the fact that we as a company cannot invest that levy on traineeships, and it's something we're working hard with Department of Education to change. I believe that if companies were able to spend more on creating fantastic pathways into work, then they could build the pathways that people with disabilities need, older people need. The traineeship model is simply too restrictive in terms of its age and its criteria. The encouraging thing is since I last spoke at this conference, the reforms of apprenticeships have removed so many barriers, not least the cap on age, and helped us create genuine challenger pathways to university for those that cannot or are not able to attend university. The challenge for us all now is how do we use these new freedoms that we've built to create a more diverse and better apprenticeship programme for this country, and at the same time help tackle some of society's biggest challenges. It's very easy to pick the low-hanging fruit and only target the easiest to reach, or those that have performed well or come from wealthier or middle-class backgrounds. In my view, we all have a role to play to make our skills system more open to all. Thank you.